I've lived in Cochrane for 17 years now, and there are a lot of mornings that I and Cindy wake up, look out our window, and ask ourselves, how is it possible that we get to be one of the chosen few who live here? But things are changing lately in Cochrane, and I suspect you've been noticing some of the same things that we have. First of all, we're growing. Now, 20,000 people call Cochrane home. People who are in the know say that number is going to grow to 30,000 and more in the next decade. If you've been looking at the developments in town, you'll notice that we've got stuff going on to the north, and the west, and the south of us, which means more and more people moving in. Another thing that you may have noticed is a lot of the people who live here are young. The best data we've got says 1/3 of people who live in Cochrane are under the age of 30. That means a lot of kids, students, moms and dads establishing their lives and their families here. And we've certainly noticed that on Sunday mornings as more and more of those people call Cochrane Alliance their church home. One other thing that I've noticed, and maybe you haven't, is that we have a lack of community space in our town. Actually, a study was done a couple years ago looking ahead to the future and wondering what kind of town should Cochrane be. One of the things that study noticed, the Cochrane Sustainability Plan, was that there is a deep lack of multi-purpose space in our community. Many volunteer and non-profit groups just can't find space to run their programs. At the same time, we've noticed a steady uptick of the amount of demand there is for our facility. In the past 3 years, we've seen a 300% increase in the demand for our space throughout the week.
Yeah, they've been a great partner, both with the food drives and the Helping Hands requests. We've also hosted Take Back the Night there, where we've had a speaker come in. I've been there as well for my own daughter with a music festival, I believe. So, yeah, so just not just with my job, but and it was there for, oh goodness, dessert theater or something that's been hosted there. So very much the Alliance Church and that facility have been a big part of the Cochrane community for years.
As leaders, as we think about all the change that is going on in Cochrane right now, we wonder what kind of fresh opportunity does this give us as representatives of Jesus Christ in our town. There's this story in the Bible, in the book of Jeremiah, about a group of people who are also in a growing city. In fact, they were immigrants there. They had just been thrown into the town. When they got there, they were really intimidated, and they were tempted to just focus on their own lives, on their own needs, just to cocoon. And God said to them, don't do it. Don't shrink. In fact, expand your life. Seek the blessing, the good, the prosperity of this city that I have placed you in, because as it prospers, as it grows, so you too will grow and prosper. We wonder as leaders if God isn't saying the same thing to us at Cochrane Alliance. So we've been asking ourselves, how do we open up our lives for the good of the people around us?
As a community developer by profession, I have a great love and heart for community. We need to belong somewhere. And I think when I see new people coming to communities and trying to integrate it and get to know who's who, it's so important that there's a sense that they belong to something bigger than themselves, and that they have a role to play in giving back to that eventually as well. That kind of a place would be a hub, you know, coming and going and people greeting and meeting, and all walks of life, like old, young, new, long-time people, where there's a sense that they, it's like the feeling you get at the farmer's market. You know, that's what we should have in our churches, where, you know, you're rubbing shoulders, you're bumping into people, you're finding out where they're from, and you're excited to show them who you are and where you live and what excites you about this community and your own interests.
Our life groups and missional community leaders are beginning to wrestle with that same question. How do we open the door of our homes and lives in the neighborhoods and communities we live in? The Open the Door project is about asking that same question with our church building. how can this facility better serve the people we live among and serve us as a church community as we do ministry together here? As a building committee, we think we've come up with a design that answers both of those questions really well. As our building committee has looked at this opportunity that's staring us in the face, we've come up with what I think is a really neat design. On one end of our building, we've got a big open concept room that opens right onto the Big Hill Creek. It can host a banquet of about 80 people or 120, 130 for a lecture style meeting. The kitchen is right attached. We can use it from anything from a seminar to a wedding, and it can also host our kids for their large group times on Sunday morning. In addition to that, we've got a whole bunch of multi-purpose classrooms that can be used on Sundays for Sunday school classes, but during the week for a fitness class, a seminar, a community meeting, you name it, it can host it. The great thing is these rooms can be configured to meet the needs that we've got during the week or on the weekend. We've also got a room planned for just quiet prayer and reflection throughout the week, not just on Sundays. On one wing of our building, we've got a new staff area that can house our staff team as it grows in the coming years. And finally, all this, it comes with an expanded foyer that gives us room for fellowship, for coffee, and to rub shoulders with each other after events and services on the weekend. The best part about this all is that we stay right here, right in the middle of Cochrane, where all the action is, right in the middle of this community where people are added all around us.
People recognize that there needs to be space where people can gather and get to know each other, socialize, and try to keep people from becoming isolated. And the more connections we have, the healthier we are in our communities. I think the timing for increased space is really awesome. The community is growing so fast that we can't keep up with the social infrastructure. People are busy building roads and sewer, but the social stuff gets left behind, and I think the increased space that the Cochrane Alliance Church is looking at will help so many groups. And it's really important these days to share your resources and work together to make the community strong. So we appreciate our partnership with the Cochrane Alliance Church.
Cochrane Alliance, my relationship is I would consider it very close, a friendship more so than a business relationship. I consider those folks over there friends, and simple being that, you know, there's no ulterior motive. I find them very community oriented. So I just find with Cochrane Alliance, they're central in the community. They have a beautiful facility, plenty of parking, and they're always willing to share.
As our church and our community continue to grow, I want to invite you to open the door of your heart and your mind to this opportunity. We're praying and hoping that many people will link arms with us to make this vision a reality. It'll come as no surprise to you or I that a vision like this is going to come at some cost, with some sacrifice. But I think that's actually the privilege we get of collaborating with a self-sacrificial God, to set aside our own interest for the blessing and good of those around us. So Cochrane Alliance, let's open the door. Let's open the door to new opportunity, to new relationship, and to new influence for the name of Jesus Christ and the greatness of our God in this community. I'm looking forward to the new adventure with you.